Welcome friends. In our last few sessions, we were focusing specifically on the role of quality in business excellence. We discussed about the different meanings of quality. We discussed that how quality can be defined from two different angles, one from the user's point of view and another from the manufacturer's point of view. And we also discussed that how quality has moved from the era of inspection to now total quality management. And during this movement from inspection to total quality management, we have significant contribution coming from various quality gurus. Specifically, we discussed the contribution of Deming, who gave a very different approach to quality. The quality, which was a low level activity in the organization, became a strategic activity for the organization, and the quality revolution, which was propelled by the ideas of Deming, became a success mantra for Japanese organizations. Now, having understood the contribution of Deming, what is TQM, the different ways of understanding quality, now finally we need to understand that how do we measure that organizations have implemented quality or not, and for that purpose there are different types of business excellence awards. Now, these business excellence awards are basically measures the ability of the organization to implement the quality in their systems, and different types of organizations, the associations, or even at the national level also, to recognize the efforts of their companies towards the quality commitment. These different types of business excellence awards were initiated, and in this session we will be discussing about some of those important business excellence awards which are available in different parts of the globe. So, first we will like to discuss one very popular business excellence award which started in USA, and this is known as Malcolm Baldrige National Quality Award. Now, this Malcolm Baldrige National Quality Award was started by UNS in 1987, and initially in 1987 there were only 3 sectors which were included in this award category: manufacturing, services, and small and medium organizations. So, initially only these 3 categories were awarded for about 10-12 years. Then in 1999 2 more categories were included in this award categories, and these were education and healthcare. And finally in 2007 one more category was added in this award categories, that is government and non-profit organizations. So, finally today there are 6 categories, and in each of these categories you have 3 awardees. One, in manufacturing there can be 3 awardees, in services there can be 3 awardees, in small business category there can be 3 awardees. Similarly, for education, healthcare and non-profit organizations 3 awardees each are possible. So, 6 into 3, 18 awardees get this Malcolm Baldrige Quality Award every year. Now, this award is basically to understand the meaning of quality. How are you able to develop a quality system for your organization, and how are you able to implement, not only develop but implement also that quality system in your organization, so that you have sustained excellence in your organization. Now, when I talk of sustained excellence, so this award framework is based on certain criteria, and let us discuss what are the specific criteria on which this Malcolm Baldrige Award is based. Now, the first important criteria is the leadership. Now, leadership comes from the idea of total quality management. In total quality management, in our previous sessions, we have already discussed that how top management commitment is a very important aspect of implementing quality or implementing the enlightened view of quality in the organization. So, this leadership role is very important, and therefore, the first thing to be measured in this kind of award is not starting from the lower level, but it starts from the top level of the organization, that is the leadership. Now, what it says that how top management leads the organization and how the organization leads within the community. So, there are two aspects. One aspect is how the top management is leading the organization, that is the internal environment, and then what is the contribution or how your organization is leading the society. So, there are different types of issues which we call as environmental sustainability, or we talk of social sustainability. So, these things are related to this particular aspect, that how organization is leading within the community. So, how organization is specifically handling the aspects of environmental sustainability, aspects of social sustainability, so that there is a positive contribution from this organization in the society, in the community, or even terms like CSR also can be remotely related with this aspect of leadership, that we are working not only for ourselves, but we have a very important role to play in the community, and that is another dimension of leadership. So, leadership, one dimension is taken from the TQM, that it is the top management commitment to implement the quality, and at the same time your organization should lead the community, should give new direction which are in the interest of the society. So, all these things are the part of leadership criteria. The second criteria is strategy. Now, the strategy means that how the organization establishes and plans to implement the strategic directions. Now, here, since this whole award idea is resting on the pillar of quality management, so the strategic direction which is seen in this particular award is with respect to quality. Now, what type of strategy with respect to quality you are making? So, the strategies related to quality management, strategies related to quality implementation are the important things to be evaluated under strategy aspect. Now, what does it mean that how organizations are making strategy related to quality? Now, as we have discussed in our previous sessions, that when we are talking of total quality management, we are more interested in prevention rather in detection. So, the idea is prevention more, detection less, and when we are able to improve our process capabilities, then we are able to prevent rather requirement of detection. So, how to improve the process capabilities? Now, strategies to implement the process capability or strategies to implement things like Kaizen, things like Six Sigma, things like where our process capabilities can be improved, where variations can be reduced. All these are the strategies which are part of our quality excellence. So, we need to see that how these strategies are developed, so that the whole organization can understand the meaning of quality related aspects, that organization is focusing on implementing the quality initiative tools. So, that is the second important aspect of this Malcolm Baldrige Award. Then third important pillar of this award is the customers. Now, in customers, what we say that how the organization builds and maintains a strong lasting relations with the customer. Now, the focus of a strong continued relations with your customer is based on quality, that through quality products, through quality services, we can maintain a long sustained relations with our customers. So, if we are thinking that we need to provide quality of design, we need to provide quality related to availability, we need to provide quality related to maintainability. So, all these things, the 8 attributes given by Garvin, if we remember, so we will see that we will be able to achieve long sustained relations with our customers. If you purchase a product and that product fails within, let us say, very small duration, the company promised you that product will work without failure for 1 year, but product fails in 6 months. So, you will have a poor satisfaction, and next time you may be switched to another product. You purchase the product of company A, next time you can purchase company B's product, and if it happens you are not having lasting relationship with your customer. So, quality can play an important role in getting the lasting relations with your customer. If we follow, if we are able to concentrate on 8 dimensions of quality, probably we can have a strong and lasting relationships with our customers. Without focusing, without understanding the importance of those 8 dimensions of quality, it is not possible to develop a strong and lasting relations with our customers. So, customer is another important thing, but right now we talk everything in terms of quality. Then another important criteria is measurement, analysis and knowledge management. Now, how are you managing the data to support your key processes and your performance? Now, in the present context, this point has become even more important, because data is coming from variety of sources. Lot of unstructured data is also coming. So, how to measure, how to analyze that data and use that information for improving your performance. So, what type of system you have to capture the data, what type of system you have for analyzing the data, and once you get some information after analysis of data, how you use that information for improving your processes, so that you can improve your quality continuously. So, there has to be a proper system which you need to show to the jury, to the evaluators, that yes, this is the system through which we are collecting data, this is the system through which we are analyzing the data, and then this is the system through which we are able to take this output of analysis for improving our processes. So, that is the complete thing, which is the point number 4 to get your Malcolm Baldrige award. Then another important point, that is the point number 5th, that is related to workforce, that how the organization empowers and involves its workforce. Again you remember your concepts of total quality management, where we continuously talk of empowered employees. So, same thing we are talking here about the workforce, that we need to have a system where we empower our employees, and even you can go to the old things like principles of management given by Henry Fayol, where the issues related to delegation of authority were discussed. So, that is about the empowerment of your employees, where we are talking of delegation of authority, and it is not simply delegation of authority for doing some task, it is for taking their inputs for improvement of the organization. We involve our workforce in the decision making activities. So, we need to show for this award purpose that what is the system through which we are involving our employees in the decision making activities. So, whether we have a system of quality circles, then we need to show some kind of evidence that yes, the meetings of quality circle is taking place at such a regular interval, so that you can exhibit, you can create some kind of evidence that these workers, these employees are involved in the decision making in the organization. So, that is the point number 5th, that how the organization empowers and involves its employees in the decision making activities, in the creative activities related to organization. Then another important criteria number 6, that is the operations. Now, how operations are being handled, how the organizations design, manage and improve key processes. So, now in your organization we have continuously discussed that there are processes which are important, where you are adding lot of value to your input to get into output, and there are processes where not much value addition is taking place. So, those processes which are actually responsible for significant value addition in your input are the key processes. So, the definition of key process is that where maximum value addition is taking place. So, like if I am in a steel factory, and in a steel factory there are various processes which are taking place on input to output. Now, one process which is known as heat treatment. Heat treatment is a process, and under heat treatment if I am doing annealing, which is primarily responsible for changing the characteristics of my input, the kind of mechanical properties which I want in my final output is largely depends on the heat treatment. Maybe the annealing kind of process will determine that how much tensile strength will be there, how much hardness will be there, and based on that you get the price or you get your output. So, there may be various process, one process may be pickling process where you are just cleaning the sheet. So, that process is simply cleaning process. There may be one process where you are slitting the sheet into the desired dimensions, but this process annealing where you are changing the mechanical properties, where you can infuse some new type of crystal structures into that, that is most important value addition process. So, it can be key process in your entire manufacturing cycle. There can be similar example, whether you go to assembly line, whether you go to fabrication shop, whether you go to tool room, wherever you go you will be able to understand that what is a key process and what is not so important process. Now, in the case of operations, the issue is that how do we organize the design of these key processes, how do we manage these key processes, and what is the system of improving these key processes, because these key processes are key for the output. So, we continuously need to target, whenever we are talking of continuous improvement, we need to continuously target these key processes for getting our improved output. So, what are the systems we need to show? We need to show our logbooks, we need to show our other kind of database that show that yes, this is the system through which our key processes are improved. Then finally, the 7th or the last criteria of this Malcolm Baldrige Award is the results, that we are doing so many things from leadership to operations. So, what is the result? So, in the case of result, we see that how the organization performs in terms of customer satisfaction, finances, human resource suppliers, partners performance, operation performance, governance and social responsibility, and how the organization compares to its competitors. So, you see that the idea is that if we are able to produce quality products, if we are able to improve quality of our system, so you see in whole of this, nowhere in result category we have mentioned the word quality, but we understand that all these things like customer satisfaction, the financial performance of the organization, human resource performance of the organization, supplier performance, partner performance, the operational performance, the governance and the social responsibility and our ability to compete with our competitors, all these things will improve if we are able to institute a proper quality management system in our organization. So, the root of all these things or the seed of all these things is in quality management systems. If you have a proper quality management system, obviously you can show to jury that how my customer satisfaction is improving. So, you must have some idea of customer satisfaction measurement, that how can you measure the customer satisfaction, how your financials are improving, how the attrition rate is decreasing, that is one indicator of human resource performance, how you are able to attract best suppliers for you, how you are able to maintain a good relation with your partners, and how your overall governance and social responsibility is improving, and vis-a-vis what is your standing in the competitive market. So, all these things are, you can say, various dimensions of checking your business performance, and therefore, this is the final criteria that whether it is leadership, whether it is empowered employee, whether it is other kind of initiatives you are taking, but all these things should culminate in improving my these various aspects of business. So, on my dashboard, if these things are appearing in green, it means I am able to take advantage of quality for improving my business performance. So, that is in detail we discuss about Malcolm Baldrige Award, that what are the categories and how these awards are decided. Then another very important award, this Malcolm Baldrige Award was given for US organizations normally, but in India also. Now, keeping this understanding of quality in our organizations and we are going in a global environment, therefore, in India also Institute of Directors established in year 2012 another very important award. These awards were given earlier also, but Golden Peacock Business Excellence Award was started in year 2012. So, that became another very interesting award to be discussed in this session, that is Golden Peacock Business Excellence Awards. Golden Peacock or Institute of Directors give around 18 different types of awards. So, Business Excellence Award started in year 2012. There were many awards which were prior to this Business Excellence Awards, and some of the awards are given for institutional categories and some of the awards are given for the individual category also. So, these are the awards which are given to both again manufacturing and service organizations in India, and public private organizations can also participate. All sectors of industry, service and commerce can participate, government departments, semi government departments can also participate, trade and professional associations can also participate, educational, healthcare, hospitality, research establishments can also participate for Golden Peacock Business Excellence Awards. So, you can see that as we discuss in case of Malcolm Malcolm Baldrige. So, large number of categories are there. Similarly, almost all types of organizations can participate for this Golden Peacock Award. So, this peacock word is taken from the national bird of India, therefore, this is known as Golden Peacock Business Excellence Award. Now, they have a typical framework for giving this award. So, this figure is taken from the manuals of Golden Peacock Award framework, and you can see that there are two phases in which this award is being decided. That one phase is related to enablers, and it contributes for 50% of your overall evaluation, and second phase is of results. So, same thing as we discussed in case of Malcolm Baldrige, there are large number of enablers from leadership to operations, and then finally results. So, the weightage is different in that case, but here this framework is more applicable for India's case. So, I am giving you this detailed framework here, that the figure is having enablers for 500 points and results for 500 points. And let us see that in enablers what are the different things which are contributing for these 500 points. So, the organizational leadership, this is the most important thing. So, as in the previous case also we started with the leadership, here also leadership is the most important thing, and it is having 120 points out of overall 1000 points. The 120 points are given for the leadership initiatives only. Then the planning, this was there in that Malcolm Baldrige Award also. The human resource management, how you are doing the human resource management, particularly the empowerment of your employees, giving chances of their participation in the decision making activities, and how you are creating a learning organization, all these things are the part of your human resource management. Then information management, it is again related to that how you are acquiring the data, how you are processing the data, and how you are using that data for improving the quality. So, that is related to information management. And the process management, again the same thing, like how you are handling, designing or maintaining your key processes. So, that is related to process management. So, you see that in this enabling stage, the leadership and process management both are having very significant weightage of 120 each, and with the help of strategic planning, human resource management and information management, you are able to achieve this process management. Now, after this enabling stage, we come to that result stage. So, in the result stage, there are 4 important categories. One is the overall, that is the business related results, where we talk of many things like financials, etc. But apart from that, we have 3 important category. One is related to commitment to society, or you can say the social responsibility of the business. So, issues related to social sustainability, issues related to CSR may go into the impact on society. Then the customer satisfaction and employee satisfaction. Obviously, customer is the most important, and some of the issues related to employee satisfaction also go into the customer satisfaction, because your employee is internal customer. So, therefore, you see that customer satisfaction is given more points than the employee satisfaction, and finally the business result. So, out of these overall thing, you see that the most important thing is the customer satisfaction, because it has 150 points. Out of your entire score, 15% weightage is given to the customer satisfaction, and similarly 15% weightage is given to the business performance. But business performance is coming because of customer satisfaction. So, I particularly feel that customer satisfaction, if you are able to drive your customer properly, you get the most important outcome of your this entire Golden Peacock framework. So, this is another way through which you can understand the Malcolm Baldrige, and this is the Indian version of that Malcolm Baldrige Award, which is started by Institute of Directors in year 2012. This Golden Peacock Award is actually based on certain core values. 13 core values they define. So, one is like customer driven quality, that is one very important core value, that the quality, we discussed that there are two ways of quality, one is as per the user and another is as per the manufacturer. So, the focus of quality should be on the customer driven quality. Then continuously whenever we will be discussing about quality related issues, committed leadership is another important value. Then third one is participation by everyone, that all your employees, because it is an extension of TQM, therefore we talk that all your employees should be able to contribute in the development of organization. So, that is the participation by everyone. Then this is related to human resource management, that how are you developing the competencies of your employees. Then we also need to have a long range perspective. It is required that organization should be able to focus on long range rather on short term. Many a time we look for the short term gains, but short term gains will not give you sustained excellence. So, the value is long range perspective. Then another important thing is social responsibility, that what is the impact of your business on the society. We just saw in the framework also some points are given for the social impact. Then process orientation, how are we able to focus on key processes, how are we designing and managing our key processes, that is the process orientation. Then since we are living in TQM era, so focus is more on prevention rather detection. Detection is the time of inspection Raj, but now we have moved from inspection Raj to total quality management era, and therefore focus is more on prevention. Then continuous improvement, we continuously look for improving our key processes. So, what are the systems for that? Then learning from others, that is also one of the key value, where you learn from your suppliers, you learn from your other partners, and even you learn from your competitors. So, learning from others is also a important value in this model. Then since market is continuously moving, it is a very complex dynamic market. So, we need to have the system of faster response. If we are not able to change faster, then it will be not good for our business. So, results will not be appropriate. So, faster response is also desired, it is also needed for business excellence. Then developing long term strategic partnership with your suppliers, with your customers, that is also very much essential in this case. And the final thing is the focus should be on results, that how all these things are helping me in improving the performance of the business. So, whether it is related to financials, whether it is related to customer satisfaction, all those things are taken into the result. So, these are 13 core values on which this Golden Peacock Award is based. Then quickly we will also discuss the third important award, that is the Deming Prize. This Deming Prize was started by Japanese organizations because Edward Deming, he contributed immensely in the development of Japanese organization. So, initially this Deming Award started for Japanese organizations, but later on this Deming Award is available for all the global players, and therefore, you see this particular diagram shows that how any company and even a particular department of a company can also apply. Like you see that there is a company A and there are company B and company C. Company B is a subcontractor of company A and company C is some overseas subsidiary of company A. Then there is a plant of company A and there are different business unit D, and within a plant there are sales, production, design, development, planning kind of other functions available into this. So, all these encircled units can separately apply for Deming price. So, the scope of Deming price is much wider as compared to Malcolm Baldrige award. In Malcolm Baldrige award, we have 6 defined categories, and in each category only 3 awardees are possible. But in case of Deming prize, all those organizations who get more than a particular threshold value, a particular passing marks, you can say, they all are eligible to get Deming prize for that particular year. And because the idea of quality came from Japan, so this award is also becoming popular day by day, and many Indian organizations are also getting the Deming prize, and it is considered to be one of the star in their profiles. So, this is another important business excellence award which is available to Indian organizations also. So, with this we come to end of this session, where we discussed about 3 very important business excellence awards, and that is a kind of measurement of instituting quality in our organization. With this, thank you very much.